Well, violent crime is likely to be a big concern for Londoners ahead of the mayoral election. Whether or not Sadiq Khan wins a third term could boil down to his record on keeping London safe. With 21 teenagers killed in the capital last year, he could have a tough job on his hands. Mr Khan says he's put hundreds more officers on the streets, but his opponents say he should have done more. Our political correspondent Simon Harris looks ahead to the election.
This is a two-horse race. If you're not voting for me, it's one less for the Tory to get.
It's completely between Sadiq Khan and myself. If people want to change, then I would ask them to vote for me.
Great thing about our system is that anyone can win if they just get enough votes.
I think we stand a really good chance, and people want to have green policies.
4 months from now, Sadiq Khan will ask Londoners to re-elect him for a third term as mayor, and he knows he'll be judged on his record.
London is building again more council homes than any time since the 1970s. Yes, reforming the police against opposition from other parties, cleaning up the air in our city.
His main opponent is Susan Hall, a Conservative member of the London Assembly. She's promised to reverse the ULEZ extension and tackle what she calls unacceptable levels of crime.
We've got gangs running through the streets with machetes, people are being burgled, and all they get when they phone the police is a number. It's got to be improved. It is absolutely wrecking people's lives.
I'm responsible for increasing investment by more than £1 billion in the police service. I'm responsible for 1,300 more police officers in London. I'm responsible for investing in more than 500 police community support officers.
We've got to start having more police officers on the streets. We've got to start making people feel safer in our city. Everybody deserves to feel safer, and they just don't.
The Liberal Democrat candidate is Rob Blackie, who works in IT. The Lib Dems, traditionally the third largest party in British politics, have only managed 4th place in the last 3 mayoral elections.
We are the big Liberal challenger to Sadiq in London right now. The Conservatives have chosen a bit of a loose cannon as a candidate. We are strong in a lot of London now. We've got MPs, we've got lots of councils, we run many councils, and of course nationally we've been winning by-elections across the country.
Zoe Garbutt is a local councillor in Hackney who's been chosen as the Green Party's candidate for mayor. She believes Sadiq Khan's controversial Silvertown Tunnel project makes him vulnerable.
The Silvertown Tunnel is a blight on the mayor's climate record. It's a massive road tunnel in one of the most deprived areas of London. It will bring loads of HGVs and loads of pollution through that area. We've been calling for it to be cancelled from the beginning, but now that it's built, we want to see it repurposed for public transport and for active travel, because you can't use a cargo bike. You have to go all the way up the river to cross the river, so it's not helping people make that transition.
In previous mayoral elections, Londoners were able to cast first and second preference votes. But the government claimed some voters were confused, so the rules have been changed. This will be the first election where the mayor is chosen by the traditional first-past-the-post voting system. And that means the winner can no longer rely on second preference votes to get them over the line. Simon Harris, ITV News, City Hall.
Good evening. Camilla Batman-Gilich founded a children's charity that was adored by parents and prime ministers alike. But the last decade of her life was tainted by controversy. Kids Company's work with thousands of vulnerable young people won high praise before being forced to close amid allegations of mismanagement. Nonetheless, with the announcement of the 61-year-old's death, today a steady stream of tributes were left outside her charity's old building. Camilla Batman-Gilich passed away on New Year's Day. Ill health stopped her fight to fully repair her reputation. Simon Harris looks back at the life of the colourful social justice campaigner.
Camilla Batman-Gilich was a one-off, colourful, charismatic and controversial. Her South London charity, Kids Company, offered hope to thousands of vulnerable children.
Human kindness, I think, that is the biggest gift we can all give each other.
Batman-Gilich was invited to meet royalty, not just the Queen. Prince Harry paid a visit on his 18th birthday. Prime Minister David Cameron was one of her fans.
She made a huge difference to thousands of young people in London, particularly at the time when there were so many challenges with violence on the streets. She really gave them hope, she gave them a voice, and she gave them opportunities.
From the age of 9, she knew back in Iran what she wanted to do, and she wanted to help children. She never had a family, she never married. She knew from the age of 9 that's what I wanted to do.
But in 2015, storm clouds began to gather. There were questions about cash handouts to young people, and Batman Gelich was forced to stand down.
If we don't give them the food voucher, the bus pass or the living allowance, then they're much more likely to get pulled into criminal activity.
Her resignation wasn't enough to save Kids Company, and its doors closed for good. There were allegations of financial mismanagement, and it emerged that over 15 years the charity had been given £46 million of public money. Its founder was accused of mesmerising politicians. But her charms were lost on members of a House of Commons committee investigating the charity's collapse.
You give a non-stop spiel of mostly psychobabble. You don't answer the questions.
I would argue that I did answer you. You might not like my answers.
The MPs concluded there was a catalogue of failings which should have rung alarm bells, but the High Court later cleared her and the charity's trustees of any wrongdoing.
It affected her, but she was determined to put the records right, and she managed that with the judgment that came out.
The Camberwell headquarters of Kids Company no longer exists, but some of those helped by Camilla Batman Gelich were there today to remember her.
I got pregnant at a young age. You know, my mum kicked me out, but Camilla almost like took me in.
There's people all around the world what's been hitting me up and just saying, oh my God, she got me moved, she got me support, she got me help, she got me therapy.
London is mourning right now, I can't lie.
Camilla Batman Gelich had suffered poor health throughout her life. She became housebound after COVID and died in her North London flat on her 61st birthday. Simon Harris, ITV News, Camberwell.
Good evening. The huge tube strikes may still be 3 days away, but tonight concerns are growing about the true impact the walkout will have on the capital. London's hospitality trade is warning it will come at a cost of £50 million to the industry here. Many businesses are calling on TfL to try to resolve the issue. The RMT union tonight says it is in talks to try to call them off. Here's our political correspondent Simon Harris.
For Westminster Abbey and Houses of Parliament.
It's 9 months since Londoners were last troubled by the dreaded words tube strike, but now a new one is coming down the track, and it's a big one. London Underground is offering its staff a 5% pay rise. The drivers' union ASLEF has accepted, but the biggest union, the RMT, said no.
The stumbling block from the RMT is they were not happy with the 5% base offer. We've since met with the RMT on Tuesday and Wednesday and today, where we've gone through our finances to demonstrate that we are being truthful when we say there is no more money.
The strike will begin to bite on Sunday, with stations closing early. From Monday to Thursday, there's expected to be severe disruption with few, if any, trains. The strikes end on Friday, but normal service is unlikely before midday. The week-long industrial action amounts to a series of back-to-back strikes by different tube workers. First to walk out will be engineering train drivers, then control room staff and signallers, and finally station staff, maintenance engineers and train drivers. UK Hospitality, the umbrella body representing London's bars and restaurants, estimates the strike could cost up to £50 million in lost trade. Soho is bracing itself.
It's particularly awful for the staff getting in. And there are buses, but there'll be huge queues, and sometimes the Lizzie line will be working, but it's a total disaster. And customers are used to working from home now, so they just might decide to do that.
January is already a tough month for the hospitality trade, thanks to post-Christmas belt tightening. The RMT's action is likely to mean even quieter pubs and bars.
It's going to be a week from hell for everybody who works in central London, everybody who wants to go out in central London. It's going to bring London to a standstill. They clearly have no consideration for anyone. They say their unions are for workers. Well, it's only one worker they're willing to look after.
One early pinch point could be Sunday's FA Cup match between Arsenal and Liverpool. Fans will be leaving the Emirates Stadium as the tube is winding down. London Underground said it was putting maximum effort into trying to keep some trains running.
Simon, what are the chances then these strikes will be called off?
Duncan, it's worth remembering that the last two planned tube strikes in July and October were called off at the last minute. So while the two sides are still talking, there is a chance, and they are still talking. But if it does go ahead, it's going to be pretty grim for anyone trying to get around. There may be a limited service on some outer London branches of the Underground, but most of it will be at a standstill. There's also going to be some suggestion of the strikes spilling over onto other parts of London's railway network, where main line trains stop at stations controlled by London Underground staff. So expect disruption on the Thameslink, Great Northern, Southern, the Overground, the Elizabeth line, as well as the DLR.
Simon, in a wet Russell Square, thank you very much.